Hey everybody, welcome back, and if this is your first time here, welcome. Today I'm going to talk about kick pedal beaters. Kick pedals are, when you get into things like that, sticks, pedals, etc., it's so subjective. It really comes down to personal choice. My recommendation has always been go to a store. Hopefully, you have a good drum shop or a good music store near you. Luckily, where I live, there are a number of stores. Specifically, Drum Center of Portsmouth in New Hampshire is about an hour away, and perhaps one of the greatest drum shops in the world. So I get the opportunity to go there and actually try gear out. I'll do a ton of research like most of you guys on YouTube, but there's still nothing better than going there and trying it yourself. So, I'm not going to talk too much about kick pedals. I am a DW5000 user. I've been using them for about 40 years now. And prior to that, 40 years. Prior to that, I was using Ludwig Speed King pedals. And that kind of made me think recently, because the Speed King is a direct drive pedal, and the DW5000 accelerators that I use are chain. And I thought, I saw the latest Yamaha direct drive pedals. I'm a big fan of Yamaha. I'm a big fan of all of the major brands. I think Tama makes fantastic stuff, Pearl, etc., etc. I've tried a Mapex hat recently, and I was just blown away by how smooth it was. So I think all of the major manufacturers make good equipment. So even though I specifically use DW hardware, it's never failed me. It's always held up. Never had a problem with it. Absolutely love the feel of it. That's me. That's my personal preference. So my point is that I went to the store with the thought of saying, I don't know what I don't know. So I always live by the idea of, is this the best that I can get right now? And should I constantly challenge myself to, think differently? I don't like saying to myself, this is what I do, and be, closed-minded to everything else. So I went to the store and I tried a bunch of pedals and I tried the new Yamaha pedals, or newer at that time. And, my feet told me really quickly, no, didn't like it. And that, I think, is the key. I don't get swayed by the look of the pedal or the look of the brand or whatever. It's like, well, how does it feel? How does it feel to me to play? And yes, I've played DW for 40 plus years, and yes, they feel like home, but at church where I play, I use a 5,000, I use a 9,000, I use a 3,000. I've owned a 3,000. Great pedals. I've owned Pearl pedals. Like I said, I've owned Ludwig pedals, etc. So just kind of where I'm at right now. But today is really about the beater. And specifically, I'm going to talk quickly about acoustic, but then I'm going to switch to electronic. So again, in my spirit of constantly looking, I've bought and I own a bunch of different beaters because I always feel like, when you're playing an acoustic kit, you're trying to figure out, well, what's my sound and how do I play and what do I like? What's the feel that I like? So I bought this Vic Firth felt beater. As you can see, one side's already worn down. Started flipping over to the other side. I like that one a lot. Sometimes I play very acoustic, in a smaller room, or have to lower the volume. So I have this, I believe this is a Vic Firth VKB3. Really cool pedal. Your regular typical sheepskin, great pedal to really soften your hits. I have a DW, I believe this is called the Black Sheep. It has a hard wooden beater underneath, but then this softer head on the top. Again, always good to have these type of things. And then, for years and years and years, I've obviously used the typical standard DW. So I'm going to switch over to electronics now. I've been playing V drums since 1997, and when I first started, they used to have the KD7s, so I had a pair of those, and I used these with the felt side on those, the KD7s, excuse me, which is like the inverted type, and these work really really well. And this is my pedal of choice or beater of choice when I play acoustic drums today. I like the felt side. I like it; just has a little bit of give to it, but I really like these a lot. And when Roland first released its first upright kick drum, I upgraded to that. And with that, I believe they shipped, this Roland hard plastic beater, and I have been using these for, well, really since probably around 98, 99. And I love them. I love the weight of them. I have two of them. I don't believe they make these any longer. But it's your typical hard plastic type of beater. But a little while ago, probably within the last year and a half, I've been doing a lot of exploring the last couple of years. I was kind of thinking, well, let me try or think about things differently. What led me there was in my old studio, I had two drum sets back to back. I had my regular set, and then I had my what I called my experimental set. The experimental set had a Roland KD10 as the kick pedal, which quite frankly, or the kick tower, which quite frankly, I really like that. Matter of fact, it's right there. I use it as a second kick drum today. Still love that pad. For the money, it's fantastic. I just really love the feel of it. But I didn't like the way this felt on it, and that made me start exploring things. And I play cajon and have a cajon, DW cajon direct drive pedal. And that led me to buying this. This is a Vic Firth VK B4. This is a rubber ball. And this felt pretty good on the KD10. Really liked the feel of this a lot. But it's a little lighter. It's meant for a cajon. But what I started to realize is I like the give, and I like the way that you can kind of bury it into the KD10. That led me to using it. Today I still have my KD 140, which is I love. And I've used converted acoustic bass drums. I probably converted at least 3, if not 4, acoustic kits to electronic. So I've tried a bunch of different things. I always use Evans patches on my kick pedals, my kick towers. I have one on my KD10. I have one on my KD 140. But I really like the rubber, and but I didn't love it. So I kept going back to the plastic one. Anyway, flash forward a bit. So we sold our home, and I had a studio, soundproof or sound reduced. I don't think there's any such thing as a soundproof studio. Spent 20 some odd $1,000 on having it built, to spec. Double doors, everything, the walls, ceiling, everything, floors suspended. And it was great for sound reduction, but it still had sound coming out of it. Anyway, so here, this is a condo. My wife and I moved about a year or so ago, and in preparation for that move, I knew we were moving to a condo, first floor, newly built, etc., corner unit, etc. I chose specific things, had to be on the first floor because I didn't want anybody below me, because I knew I was going to have my kit here, etc. So anyway, I knew sound was going to be a concern, as well built as this condo complex is. So in theory, so what I was after is, after we purchased this place, we had about 6 months to sell off our home, clear out, etc. And I had to kind of re-engineer my thinking about volume. How am I going to play? Am I going to be able to play this kit electronically, this full electronic rig? I knew that acoustics were off the table here. I knew I had to do everything I could to reduce volume. I was looking at noise eaters and so forth. That led me to this. This is a cat tennis ball beater. Interestingly enough, on the new Roland 716 kits, I've noticed that Roland now offers tennis ball beater. And these aren't new. These have been around for quite a long time. But again, I figured this is about I don't know, well before we moved. I told you that I was using the rubber ball beater, and this was kind of the evolution of that. This is my favorite beater by far that I have now been using nonstop for well over a year. Absolutely love it. So much so that I've not touched these and probably, never want to say never, but I don't see myself going back to this. What I noticed was in my old studio, I took my headphones off and I played acoustically on the electronic kit. And these things just was like whack, 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 whack. It was so annoying. And I noticed when I was playing, even with my headphones, I use Audio Technica ATH M50Xs, love them. So I noticed I could even hear these whack, 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 and it just really bothered me with that sound. I took the Evans patch off the head. One thing to note, I don't want to use the DW pedal on my KD140 because I think it's too heavy of a beater, and I'm very nervous about protecting the sensor, the trigger underneath the head. With that, I don't play it loosely. I tighten that head up because again, I'm trying to protect the sensor underneath it. Now, when I play an acoustic kit, I play it very loose. I really like that feel of being able to bounce off the head, but I also like to be able to feel, pushing right into it. And that's so, when I first switched to the tennis ball beater. This is before I think we even were deciding to move because I was just trying out different things. And I liked it right away, but what I noticed was I couldn't get the velocity curve like I could with the plastic beater. And that concerned me because playing a high-end kit, you want as much realism as possible. So I remember taking this off, but I still use it on my KD140, and on the KD10, and I absolutely loved it. I totally was in love with how this felt. I couldn't believe just how good it felt. So much so, I was actually thinking at one point of putting the KD10 on the big kit because I like the feel of it so much. And to me, it doesn't matter that the KD10 is far inferior to the KD140. It's like if it felt great and played great, I don't care. So kind of thought about that, but then that kind of led me to thinking, oh, wait a minute, why would I do that? The KD140 is truly a better kick pad, if you will. So I had already had one play with this, had taken it off, had gone back to this. Now we were about to move, and I had to try to reduce volume. I switched over to this and sort of not made myself, but did a concerted effort to really let's give this another go, and went into the settings for the trigger settings, lowered the threshold a little bit, raised the sensitivity a little bit, played around with the curve type. So anyway, my point of all of this rambling is if you're thinking about trying something different, it's not a big investment. You can get these on Amazon, probably like $20-25 or so. I've not broken one yet, and I'm not a light hitter. I don't wail on my kit, but I'm not a light hitter. What I really love about this is it has give, and the feel. I do have Evans patches on both kicks. What I really love about it is, first of all, the volume. You no longer have that kicky sound. It has more of a thud, and it's not as abrasive. So acoustically, much better. But the feel, now having played it for about a year, The feel is just outstanding. It feels to me so similar to an acoustic kit. It just does. It's like the give on it. When you hit an acoustic kit, that head moves. Even if it's tight, it still moves. And as I said, I like them loose. So I absolutely love the feel of this. The performance of it gives me, the wide velocity curve I'm looking for. So I have adapted to this pedal. So again, hope this helps you. It's all subjective. I'm not saying the pedal you're using is wrong. The beater you're using is wrong. All I'm saying is this is what works for me. I typically live by the what if scenario. And I'm just saying, hey, if you're thinking about trying something different with not a lot of expense to it, give it a shot. Hope this helps. Catch you next time.